We've known for a long time that trouble's brewing in the automotive industry. The average price for a new car has continued to rise, and according to KBB Value, currently sits at $48,301, which is over $5,000 higher than it was a year ago, while the average price for a used car is $34,340. But the concern doesn't only lie with the actual price of the vehicles themselves, but also with the way in which people are paying for these cars. Auto loan debt is currently the third largest debt category for Americans, sitting right behind mortgages and student loans, and adds up to $1.46 trillion, or nearly 10% of total American consumer debt. In fact, Americans on average take out $60 billion in new auto loans each and every month. And on a per consumer basis, this comes out to an average monthly new car payment of $644 with an average term of 69.4 months, and an average used car payment of $488 per month with an average term of 67.4 months. This has become a significant financial burden for auto loan borrowers and car buyers, but the pressure is also starting to mount up against the financial institutions that are lending out this money. And I'm gonna be honest, things really don't look good. Now, used car prices are going down, which is great news for the average car buyer that is looking to pull the trigger on a used car purchase. But it does seem as though the damage has already been done over the last 2 years of overinflated car prices, and this is beginning to poke its ugly head in the form of charge-offs, delinquencies, and repossessions. Now, we already know that auto loan originations have skyrocketed over the last year, which you can see here in a chart provided by the Federal Reserve. We also know that auto loan delinquencies have seen a decrease over the last 2 years, and this is in large part due to COVID relief and loan forbearance. But we are at this point about 3 years removed from COVID-19 and the start of the pandemic, and as a result, COVID relief is long gone, auto loan forbearance is long gone, and cost of living is higher than ever. And though car prices have gone down, they're still higher than they were pre-pandemic. And as a result of this, financial institutions are beginning to sound the alarm. In fact, according to Wells Fargo, they have seen an increase in charge-offs last quarter, many of these charge-offs being loans that were taken out last year. Ally Financial has said that charge-offs in auto loans quadrupled last quarter. And Fifth Third Bancorp announced it would be pulling back on loan originations. This is really bad news for anybody or any company that has tie-ins into the auto financing industry. And it's not only a sign that auto repossession and auto loan delinquencies are increasing, it's physical proof that it's happening today as we speak. And the domino effect that this is going to cause is going to be absolutely massive, and it goes much further and much more beyond used car prices. Let me explain. The best comparison I have to the current state of the used car market, as well as my short-term predictions of where the car market is heading, is actually the 2008 housing crisis.
Down 1.7% here, a loss of 37 points or so. Apple shares are just getting hammered this morning.
We're down by between 3 and 4.5% generally across these markets. Let's talk about the speed with which we are watching this market deteriorate.
There are 650,000 homes in the United States in foreclosure right now. Now, that's at any stage of foreclosure. It doesn't mean they're about to be repossessed, but 650,000 homes, that's an increase of 112% from last year. 1 in 194 homes in the United States is in some part of the foreclosure process.
The National Association of Realtors reported the worst month-to-month drop in existing home sales since they started keeping track in the late 90s. And compared to last year, closings are down more than 25%.
The 2008 housing and financial crisis was caused by a few key factors, but at the heart of the crisis was subprime mortgages. In the lead up to the 2008 housing crash, subprime mortgages were being distributed at an increasingly large rate. A subprime mortgage is essentially a mortgage that has been given out to a not-so-qualified candidate, so these loans were inherently more risky. Maybe the borrower didn't have great credit, great borrowing history, or maybe they didn't make enough money to fully justify the purchase of that house. But despite these things, they were approved for this home mortgage anyways. Well, due to these loan standards decreasing and more people being able to be approved to buy homes, this in turn drove up demand, and thus it drove up the home prices over the course of many years. But because these loans were very risky, when the economy started to take a turn in 2007, many of these subprime borrowers couldn't make their monthly payments, so they had to sell their homes. This in turn led to an increase in homes entering the housing market, and the influx of available homes caused home prices to decrease. And this is when the dominoes began to fall with the 2008 financial crisis, because as more and more people needed to sell their homes, this in turn caused home prices to go further and further down, and this caused people to no longer be able to sell their home because they had to sell it for less than what they owed on it, forcing them into foreclosure. Suddenly, financial institutions holding these subprime mortgages were no longer able to collect, thus leading to bankruptcy. Home values tumbled because of an increase in supply and a decrease in demand, and the economic impact was felt throughout the entire country. And doesn't this all sound a little bit familiar to what we're currently seeing today with the automotive industry? In 2021, car prices skyrocketed because of a decrease in supply and an increase in demand. Loan originations increased, and though the bulk of auto loans are not subprime, in fact, subprime auto loans only make up about 16% of all US auto loans, these loans were taken under much more ideal economic conditions. The reality is the economic outlook was much more positive in 2021 than it is today in 2022, and as a result, people felt more comfortable buying used and new cars, even if they were having to buy these cars at higher inflated prices. But the economy is shifting, and it's shifting quickly, and these car purchases that were deemed okay 6 or 12 months ago are now all of a sudden becoming very unaffordable. And the problem lies whenever it comes to sell these cars. What's going to happen when someone who bought their car at the height of the used car bubble now is in a position where they have to sell that car because they can no longer afford it? Well, selling it may be very, very difficult because there is a good chance that they might be underwater on that vehicle, meaning that the worth of that car is actually less than what that person owes on that car. And this will lead to more defaults, more repossessions, and a flood of repossessed cars will enter the used car market, causing the used car prices to fall and crash. And it may not feel very important today, but these statements from banking institutions talking about an increase in charge-offs, this is their way of sounding the alarms, and it is the beginning of something big. And I don't know an exact timeline. I don't know if this is going to happen in 6 months, 12 months, or 18 months. But I do predict that we will see a massive auto market crash caused by auto loan delinquencies, and it will be eerily similar to the 2008 housing crash. This is something that I encourage everyone to keep an eye on, and I of course will be updating you on this channel as new news and information comes out over the next few months and as these series of events progress. But I do think that this will be very interesting to see how all of this unfolds, but I can assure you one thing, it will not be pretty. But with that being said, you guys, I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, comments, if you have anything to add, I would love to hear it. So make sure to leave a comment down below. And while you guys are at it, make sure to hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell. And I will see you guys in the next video.